We are up to episode 4, Vox in Excelso. I don't know what that means. Tell me in the comments. Let's get into the review. The USS Athena is at a nebula, and it's overshadowed by Captain Archie announcing and talking about past decisions, the universe taking parts and forming these beautiful things. It had to be one thing to become another. Uses it to sort of inspire. A nice inspiring opening for the episode. The Doctor announces a debate competition, and the Doctor swears and is told, are you allowed to swear? And he pretty much says, I'm like 800, 900 years old. I can do what I want, which is fair enough. We find out that Jaden does not like public speaking, which is very anti-Klingon, because they're usually very loud. Which is fine. I love exploring a different type of Klingon. The Doctor talks about his journey through Voyager and through things, debating people on his life, convincing them that he is a sentient being with his own personality and need for acceptance within the community, within his community on Voyager. And it's a nice little nod because, yeah, he did kind of have to fight for that respect and that growth, especially in those first episodes. They were quite rude to him. He starts a warm-up with Prove You Don't Exist. We're seeing each character debate. We find out that Caleb apparently is very good at debate and knows a lot of laws and regulations and rules. And he's very good. Like, they don't give enough of the debate to really prove that, but he says things and they go, oh, he did it. And the Doctor's also genuinely surprised at this. Jaden steps up to the podium and has a panic attack. He can't breathe. He's sweating. And this is when I I realized from sort of Trek culture I watched last week, the reason that Jaden looks so clean is his teeth are so white. Now, if you've watched any Star Trek show, the Klingons don't have white teeth. They have pointed teeth because they grind them. And yeah, that's it. That's the thing that makes him look a little less Klingon. Obviously, he's just a bit fastidious with his teeth, or maybe they just didn't want the lisp of having fake teeth in your mouth for years and years. Caleb asks Jaden what happened. Jaden sort of explains he doesn't like speaking in public and he's a bit off. And then Jaden goes, well, how do you know all these rules and regulations? And he's like, well, in prison you read a lot of that stuff. Like, you just read. And it's true. Like, you meet anyone who's been to prison, they know their laws and regulations. And yep, I live in that area of Sydney. Caleb also starts hoarding food. He's reprogrammed one of the dots to bring them lunch, and he starts hoarding food. And Jaden's looking at him like, "Why do you hoard the food?" And Caleb doesn't want to explain why he hoards the food. We all know it's a psychological thing. Caleb also apparently knows the history of Kahless, and this is another thing about this episode that I thought was really weird. Is they pronounce the Klingon like they pronounce the Klingon in Discovery. So they say, instead of saying Kahless, they say Kalesh and Kronos, like they have a lisp problem, which is weird. I don't know why it bugs me so much. It didn't bug me when they had bad teeth, but when it's humans talking about it, we know they say it a different way. But maybe the pronunciation's right. Maybe they got some advice on that, or maybe they've just decided that's how they say it. Jaden gets called to Captain Archi's office and is told that his parents were aboard a freighter which had a catastrophic malfunction and they might be dead. And we find out an interesting piece, and then we find out quite a big and interesting piece of lore being introduced in Starfleet Academy. And I don't think it was mentioned in Discovery. When the burn happened, which was the explosion of all active dilithium reactors, Kronos was decimated. Billions died. The Klingons are on the brink of extinction, which is an interesting way to do it. It's I don't know how to put it. It's an interesting way to bring the Klingons back. It's also an interesting way to add some sort of world building for the 32nd century. I don't mind it. I don't know why I suppose it allows some exploration of their place in the universe at this time, which is what I've been wanting. Like, Discovery really avoided sort of a lot of that with the central, like, we got Navarre, But in regards to the Klingons and the Romulans and stuff like that, it was largely sort of, especially with the Klingons, sort of avoided. I think Discovery avoided the Klingons because of how the Klingons looked in the first season of Discovery. Aki asks Jaden if he wants time off. It'd be understandable. He's the only Klingon in Starfleet. He says no, he doesn't want it. He's clearly affected by it. He says that he said goodbye to his family a long time ago. Jaden and his... So we cut to a sort of a past cut back before Jaden was in Starfleet Academy, and it's him and his brother going out for a hunt. But he sort of asked why you won't let me do this, and his brother goes, your place isn't hunting, your place isn't doing this, you have better places to be. They get home, obviously Jaden hasn't caught anything because he wasn't allowed to catch anything, and his brother gets a bow because his brother is a warrior. The bow is given to him as sort of a ceremonial thing, that your first kill on the hunt, this is your bow. And they say, Jaden, you'll get one when you bring home your first thing. There's like a really good family sense here, and I really like it. I didn't get his brother's name. Jaden says that he does not want a weapon to his father, which does not go down well. His father wants him to be a warrior, and he goes, why don't they see me? And he talks about, this is sort of in his head, he goes, oh, why does my brother see me? He saw me before I saw myself. And this plays a lot of parallels to another thing that happens in life that some of you dodgy anti-woke people might have an issue with. So get over it. We're going to be talking about that at some point in this video. His brother gives him a gift, which is a Starfleet transmitter. It's like a ball thing. And it's for, he talks about how Starfleet's for explorers and scientists and going out there and being a part of the universe. The item, the transmitter, contains a Starfleet Academy recruitment voice message. Why they would need to send a voice message, I don't know, but it has a voice message talking about Starfleet is opening up after 120 years. We need more medical and health people. And Jaden's sort of excited by it. His brother's sort of like, feeling like you need to go into outer space. His brother's a nurse. After this memory sequence, Jaden walked in on the class with the doctor talking about Klingon history, obviously talking about what happened with Vern, what happened with how they are now, how they're a bit scattered in the universe and they're facing extinction. The doctor announces there'll be a debate event this week. The cadets suggest talking about the Klingons. There's some random cadet, not any of Jaden's friends. Caleb immediately jumps to like, why the fuck would you do that? The doctor says that this is inappropriate. Like they shouldn't discuss this. It's insensitive. And Jaden says, why not? People are already talking about it. So why don't we just make it an open forum? And it's fair enough. I don't think they would do that in any other country in the world right now. Sort of trying to tackle this head on. The doctor finally agrees because Jaden obviously was the best representative of that, and Jaden makes a good case. So he talks about the Klingon diaspora, and there's been a tragedy, so his facts better be immaculate. So he's talking about the facts and the truth being very important within this debate. The doctor mentions that the facts and the truth are very important in the debate, to have your facts ready, to be respectful. And I get that because facts and truth are very important. You don't want to make bullshit up. We cut to Captain Aki's office and Admiral Vance is there, and he's saying that they found a new home which is perfect for the Klingons. It has volcanics and it's, I think it's Theos 4 or something. But the Klingons don't want Starfleet's help. They're adamant they can do this on their own. They can save their own people. And he wants Captain Aki to find a way to convince them. Aki points out that anyone who meets her risks dishonor from their house. Caleb's on the affirmative for offering the Klingons help and getting the Klingons help and sort of forcing the help, to be honest. Jaden's on the negative, and he says that any Klingon should look after themselves. They have sort of an argument, a little bit of a tiff. The friends are worried. It's an interesting dynamic. They're sort of on opposing sides, and you can see both sides of the point later on. So Jaden's brother got stabbed. We're back in the past now, and because he was trying to trade for another Starfleet device, a dermal regenerator. Jaden is going, where is the dermal regenerator? Still there? It can use it to save him. And his father's like, no, you get that and you dishonor us. Blah, blah, blah. His brother, while dying, says, whatever happens, you are enough. Trust yourself and trust the stars. Now, this is a good brother. He's supportive, he's understanding, he knows how to say meaningful things when he's passing away. Always important. His brother dies. Ake meets with the Klingon, which we find out is essentially the leader of the Klingons' houses at this point, sort of the pseudo-leader. But they have a past relationship, and we learn as it goes on that it's probably a bit more than just a friendship. She tells him about the planet Fon Alpha, which is the planet I mentioned before, and he says it's a charity that the Klingon Empire, the Klingons, would not accept. They don't want to be considered weak. Aku wants to grant asylum on Fon Alpha. Like, just there's a bunch of Klingons on other planets in the Federation space, but she wants to grant them asylum. Once again, a little bit insulting the Klingons. Then she mentions that Jaden is in the Academy, and he's genuinely surprised that there's a Klingon in Starfleet Academy, because there isn't many Klingons left, and that would be weird. Jaden is practicing, and Caleb comes to help, and Jaden snaps at him. Jaden says, "We are not brothers," because he tries to sort of help him, and they have sort of an argument. And Jaden says, Caleb tries to say, like, we're the same. We don't have a people. We don't have a thing. And Jaden says, and Jaden rightfully goes, "No, you don't have a people. I have a people. My people are the Klingons, the stories of Kalesh and of all of these traditions." Like, he's very sort of like, they're similar, but not, like, it's very different in certain ways. Cut back to Aki, and she's drunk with the Klingon, and he sort of says there's nothing he can do. He can't convince the Klingons, but he will look into Jaden's family, which she mentions, which is nice of him. It's very nice. Once again, very much hitting a relationship. Very much he left Ake because... No, sorry, she left him because he didn't want a relationship at that time. And, okay, weird relationship things. Jaden, present time, opens up a bag with the transmitter that he got from his brother, and it's broken, like smashed to pieces, broken. He hears his father telling him to be a warrior. Jaden talks about Starfleet and how he wants to join, and it's an opportunity for him to go and explore and learn how to help his people in a different way. His father gets angry and pitches the transmitter off the cliff, and then tries to force Jaden to kill an eagle in honor of his brother. And Jaden rightfully goes, "Well, I am honoring my brother by not killing the eagle." His father screams at him, gets angry, and then grabs the bow and takes a shot at the eagle himself and misses. Gets furious, throws it down, and disappears. Jaden goes to find the transmitter. So Raimi comes to visit and asks Jaden to hit him, because Klingons get angry, and that's what happens. Jaden gets angry, but doesn't want to hit him. He actively goes, "I don't want to hit you. Like, fuck off." He tells Jaden how it feels, and he talks about how he learnt techniques to handle things. So he starts teaching, like, breathing techniques and chanting techniques. And Raimi goes to him, "It's your voice, use it." And it's a really powerful moment with some subtle things in it. They're holding each other while going over the debate and talking. I want to say that there's a brief tension. I don't know whether it's an attraction or a slight awkwardness, or they're a bit too close and Jaden's a bit uncomfortable, but there's certainly a tension there, which, to be honest, was kind of cute. Raimi leaves and he keeps going. We cut to the debate start. Facts must be accurate. Ake arrives stumbling. She's hungover from drinking with the Klingon. We see them debate, all of them going up against each other, and then Caleb and Jaden get up. Jaden hears ringing in his ears because obviously he's starting to panic attack again. Caleb begins, and we hear him mumbling stuff. Raimi makes contact with eye contact with Jaden and does this, which is like meditate, calm down, breathe. And Jaden starts to speak, slowly at first, in that way that, like, he's just trying to get some words out. Caleb pushes the information, the laws, brings up examples of other times the Federation has helped the Klingons, not helped the Klingons, but helped other species survive. Jaden rightfully goes, allow Klingons to be Klingons and handle it themselves. It's no place for the Federation to tell the Klingons who they are. It gets personal. They start arguing with each other, and Caleb brings up the fact that he's a Klingon who takes Starfleet's help and gets Starfleet bed and breakfast. And the Doctor ends it because they start getting personal and they start getting heated. Jaden goes back to his quarters and is visited by Commander Thawk. He tries to apologize, and Thawk tells him at ease. Thawk talks about her parents, her lineage, her father and grandfather, father being Jem'Hadar and her mother being Klingon. They talk about how they renounced their Klingon house. She sort of says arguments with brothers are normal, and Jaden goes, Caleb is not my brother. She talks about how she finds it an honor to be a mentor for a Klingon. Or an elder for a Klingon, someone to sort of connect with on a deeper level. And she wants to teach him, and she really invests herself in him because she wants him to be the best of the best. And it's a really sweet moment. And I think it very much resonates. Like, I'm very white, Scottish and that ancestry, right? But when you look at Aboriginal Australians or Native Americans, they have elders who teach the younger ones how their traditions and their culture and how to have an understanding of all this, their language. And I don't know if it's ever been recognized in Star Trek before, or it has, but not in this way. Like, she's talking about being an elder and guidance, someone he can look at and ask questions and learn more about his own people and culture. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, I don't think I've heard it this way in Star Trek. I don't think they've recognized the fact that the only person who can teach someone about their culture or traditions that is sort of elders of that culture and tradition. And I really liked it. It was a genuinely really well-connected moment between the two characters of Jaden and Thawk. It was a great sort of character exploration of Thawk, as well as sort of her connection to her Klingon past and what it means for his connection to the Klingon past. I really like this scene. It's slow, it's thoughtful, it talks it out, and it does something different to what Star Trek has done before, which I like. Jaden tells the story of his family, and his father not killing the eagle, and then his family just left him. Like, they outright got in their ship and fuck the fuck off. Thawk rightfully brings up in this discussion that Klingons do not miss in anger. Killing something is genuinely exciting for her. She suggests that maybe the father honored his brother by not killing the bird and leaving him so he could explore his life by himself. It does come off as a bit of a random theory, but I do like the way she's thinking. Jaden remembers his family, and there's some really nice little moments and clips of them sort of being a general family, but also being Klingon. Thawk says, a warrior not with weapons, but with words. And this is sort of the question of the whole episode. What does it mean to be a warrior? Warrior? I don't know if I'm saying it properly. Tell me if I'm saying it wrong. But that context of battle and fighting is not the only way to stand up and fight for what you believe in and help your people and defend your people. So this episode sort of explores Jaden's place within the Klingon Empire, and I genuinely enjoy the look at, like, not all Klingons can be warriors. We had a lawyer one in Enterprise, but that's literally the only one I can think of that's not. Like, there's advocates and, like, positions of people, but they're all generally quite warriorish. But I do like that exploration, that you don't have to fight battles physically with swords and kill people to fight for your own people. Thawk tells Jaden about the planet and the fact that the Klingons don't want it. And it's a genuinely really sort of, I want to say, interesting process, because I kind of know where this episode's going to go at the end once this happens. Jaden immediately wants back on the debate stage, and he talks about being Klingon and what it means. And he says, I am a Klingon warrior, and I learned that here. And he learnt that through redefining what it means to be a warrior. Sounds like I'm saying worry, as in warrior. Anyway, he talks about how the Federation is about accepting other cultures and not changing them. And he says if the Federation stops being, he says the Federation stops being the Federation when it stops the Klingons being the Klingons. You have to be yourself. He talks about himself being both Federation and Klingon. He represents both. It's a really interesting notion that once, people have talked about this before. There's other cultures come into the Federation and they can't express their own culture and traditions, and this is very much hitting that on the head. You can't be an organization that celebrates diversity and inclusivity and stuff without openly accepting the differences in culture and traditions and sort of respecting that and talking about that and having that as something important. And this is where the crux of the episode really hits. He starts talking about being a warrior means different things, and it can mean fighting on a battlefield, it can mean fighting for someone's life, it can mean exploring a new world and understanding of what's going on. There's many ways to be a warrior and to fight for your people and your beliefs, and not all of them require a bat'leth. And I genuinely love this, because this is Star Trek. And this is what I want to see a lot of in Starfleet Academy. I want to see their exploration of the ideals, beliefs, and different cultures within the Star Trek universe. So I genuinely enjoyed this episode because it is exploring some of those fundamental messages of Star Trek and what it is to be Klingon, while exploring a different race, while exploring the effects of the universe on Kronos after the burn. Like, there's a lot of universe building in this, while a lot of exploration of character, while a lot of exploration of a culture. And this is what I wanted to see. The Starfleet Academy really hits it. Like, this is 4 episodes. Each episode is very different, tonally. I'd say this one's most similar to episode 2, but overall, very different. Like, they even bring up episode 2 in this, but they're very different from each other in tone and what they're trying to do. He talks about how the Federation has to be humbled, and they have to they can't be so proud and want to jump in there and take control. They need to sort of back off and let Klingons be Klingons. He says Klingons need a Klingon solution to a Klingon problem. And this is where I literally knew what was going to happen. It sounds like I'm being cynical about this. I knew it was going to happen, but it doesn't take away from my dislike of the episode. So the Athena goes to the planet of which they wanted to give the Klingons. Jaden's on the bridge, and he gets sort of talked to by Aki, and she says, look here. He goes, what if I'm wrong? And she sort of goes, if you're wrong, you're wrong. You got us here in the first place. They put a lot of trust in these cadets, like a lot of trust. But I suppose he's the only Klingon. It kind of makes sense. General Wochar, which is the name of the Klingon who Aki got drunk with, is on the screen. The Admiral Vance threatens him, says your Klingon people are on various planets within Federation space. We need to get them off their planets, sort of threatens them. Then Wochar goes, are you threatening us? And then they have sort of a faux battle. So the Federation and Klingons start fighting. We learn that the Athena, when it fights, is just the saucer, like just the school section. So, and I mean this in the nicest way. So when you go into battle, you're just taking the crew and the kids in the school, battle school. But we get to see like new Klingon ships. We get to see, and the biggest moment for this, and it's a beautiful subtle moment I didn't notice on my original watch, is the talk of the episode is about Klingons being Klingons. And when they allow these Klingons to sort of be Klingons and go into battle and fight, the Klingon theme from the motion picture and used throughout Star Trek plays over the battle. And I'm going, oh, that is really good. It's a musical cue showing that the Klingons are allowed to be Klingons, and the Federation understands that, and there's a connection through understanding. And I genuinely went, that is really well written, really clever, really subtle. And I genuinely just love hearing that theme. But yeah, we can see Klingon ships, more Federation ships. I'm not a big fan of the Federation ships in the 32nd century. Some of them look cool, but they just look impractical. Klingon ships, we only see sort of in small detail, but they look pretty cool, not bad. So their shields are sort of knocked down, and the battle sort of the Federation surrenders, and as a spoil of war, the Klingons take the planet, and that is where they will be. And it's a respected moment, and I like it. It's cute. I knew this was going to happen. Like, whenever you go Klingon, there has to be Klingon going to have to be battling you. So the general beams aboard, obviously, for them to surrender, and he talks to Jaden, and he gives him a bow, like his brother got, for being a warrior, for helping this happen and saving the Klingons, or helping to save the Klingons. He tells him that he located his parents. They are safe. It's a genuinely sort of sweet moment where he finally sort of accepts that, yes, I'm a warrior, but I'm not the same warrior as other Klingons. Once again, love the message. Caleb and Jaden have a warrior stew, because he's a warrior now. He didn't have the stew at the beginning because he wasn't. He didn't think he was. Now he is a warrior. He has it. It's a bit spicy. It's a bit uncomfortably spicy. He talks to Caleb and tells him that he's like his brother, and that's sort of why he couldn't accept it. Caleb tells him why he hoards food, which is his mother always said they go to Earth and try the food there, so he hoards it. I don't know. It'd be off. What are you doing? You have to replicate it. Anyway, and he talks about how he says, and I quote, maybe the trick is not to let go of the past, but to let the present in. So he talks about accepting his brother's dead, but remembering him, but also letting Caleb in. And it's a message for both of them. It's a trust thing. It's a friend thing. It's brothers, but more friends. I wouldn't say, yeah. Anyway, I have weird relationships. Jaden plays the Starfleet Academy message as we watch them sit there on the stairs, and the episode ends. Now, once again, we're on our 31. These reviews are so fucking long because I write notes. This episode encompasses everything I want Starfleet Academy to be. The next episode is brilliant. But this episode is what I think the show should sort of focus more in the area, which is exploring a different culture while exploring the characters, while exploring the effects of the history of the universe, world building within the universe, genuinely building on everything. Like, there is one story going throughout this episode, but that one story has a history, it has a future, it has a now, it affects one of our characters, and it affects a well-beloved sci-fi alien species. And Star Trek at its best, and I don't think Star Trek does it very often, Star Trek telling multiple stories while telling one story, yeah, that makes sense, is genuinely fun. And whoever wrote this episode wrote a good episode. I think Jaden comes across really well. His voice is a little bit more calm than this, thank God. He speaks like full speed with a deep voice. He doesn't irritate. The Klingon culture is built up. I love the family moments, like the parallels between being partly the parallels with LGBTQIA feelings and stuff like that, and growing up. The parallels with talking about warriors and what it means. Like, you can do a lot of different things to fight for things. This episode encased, once again, Star Trek's message of diversity and culture and understanding and diplomacy, and it really, saying that you are right. Because the one thing, Caleb's mistake in this and is the Federation needs to go in there to help because that's the right thing to do. And Jaden's saying, well, no, we don't need to go and help because sometimes people need to sort out their own problems in their own ways. And I wish America would do this. But genuinely, it's so many facets in this episode where the Federation wants to be sort of the savior of the universe, but at the same time, they want to accept people's cultures and traditions, so sometimes they have to take a back seat. And that's what it means by being humble. They need to sort of back down and sit down and go, no, we trust you to do what you need to do, and we're going to let you do what you need to do. And there's so much growth in this. There's so much great stuff in this episode. This episode So the first episode really sets up that overarching story, Caleb, all of that. Big bangs, big action pieces to get people sort of, oh my God, this is really exciting. Second episode, romance, teenagey, but with a little bit of a diplomacy scene, a little bit of a more mature sort of moving forward sense. The last episode, sports episode, I didn't like most of the episode, but I liked the message at the end. This episode hits the nail on the head in terms of all of these aspects. There's a little bit of sort of teenage angst. There's a little bit of character development. There's a lot of things going on in this episode that mesh really, really well. This is a good Star Trek episode. If you don't like it, then I would ask you what exactly is wrong with it. I'm sure people are going to have issues with what happened to Kronos. Get the fuck over it. Vulcan was destroyed in the Kelvin timeline. Romulus was destroyed in the Prime timeline. Things happen. Apparently everyone but Earth has things happen. I can't think of a fault with this episode. I like the Doctor swearing. I like Aki getting drunk. I like her relationship with the Klingon Chancellor. I liked every element of this because it wasn't heavy-handed, but at the same time, if you're watching, it makes sense. All of these things come together in sort of the perfect form of what Starfleet Academy can be. And I would argue this is one of the best and well-written episodes of Star Trek in the new era for a while, like since Prodigy Season 2 especially. But I'm sure people will complain because that is grumpyoldmen.com. I have been TrekTrav. What did you think about this episode? Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next week with episode 5. And believe me, that one is a big one. So make sure you subscribe now.